Tak. Hvor er vi henne? So welcome to this orienteering event in Nørreskoven, north of Copenhagen in Denmark. This is the series finale of a series of winter trainings made by 8 different orienteering clubs in and around Copenhagen. And Nørreskoven is a very open beech forest, and my strategy here is to try to cut corners and run as fast as possible. And just 2 weeks ago I was in Jutland running in inland dunes with dense vegetation where you simply had to stay in constant contact with the map. And here it's a little different. You can see the controls further ahead and take more chances. So my idea was just cut across and try to cut corners. Don't stop to read the map too many times. You should be able to do that while running. But as you may have noticed, I'm trying to cut corners here, but I'm a little confused, and what you see is that I think I'm actually on one of the tracks, but these are just tracks made by forest machinery. So I'm getting fooled here, and right out of the start I'm sort of I don't know where I am, but I finally decide, just keep moving ahead in the right direction. And my catching feature are the hills. There's a slope down towards the lake, Furesøen, and if I just run in that general direction, and now I catch a path, and here there are a lot of fallen trees in the area. I'm trying to figure out, you can see 4 or 5 different places I could actually be. I'm trying to just make sure that I'm in the right place, or that I know where I am. This is where I think just run, because the slope is right there. It's got to be the right place. So a little confusing right out of the start box, but it's always a challenge with those starts. So I'm finally on the path, and now I just have to stay on top of this slope, and the idea is just to run along here. The path is a little hard to see, but that's how it often is in the wintertime in beech forests. The leaves cover a lot of the details, but when it turns sharply to the left, I should just aim for that spur with a small hole on the other side. And this is what you see me. I'll make the right turn here, and somewhere across there is a spur with a hole, and I think I actually spotted like a small glimpse of something over there, so I have a fairly good idea of where to go. Just down the hill and up the other side. And what I may actually have spotted is the small piece of paper, the manila marker, which they put out alongside with the control. And I may have seen that because the control itself is down in the hole, but the manila marker is slightly above. But it's the right one, and I know that I have to continue in the same direction. So just up the re-entrant, and I'll hit the path somewhere. And the idea is on the next leg here, just try to run on the contours. Don't aim for the path on the left, because that'll add 2 or 3 contours, and that's not necessary. I should be able to run in a fairly open forest here, maybe like 50 or 100 yards of slightly density 1, but that should be okay. and I reach the big path and should just continue ahead and try to stay on the curve, stay on the contour. And again, as I said, the general idea, strategy, call it if you will, is to just keep in motion. There's the fallen tree on the right, the impassable marsh, semi-lake down there at the bottom, and I should just stay right around here and just run straight ahead. But try to read ahead, and don't make those small stops. I used to make stops before I ran, the last 50 yards, just to make 100% sure where I was. And I'm trying to improve my game here a little bit by, taking a little more chances when the controls are easy. And here I believe I've spotted that white-orange thing in the middle there. Yeah, there it is. So that was control 2, and except for the hiccup with the start, it's going fairly well. So on this next leg, I could either go down the hill or up, and I decide to go up. And here again, I don't want to read too many details on the map in the start. Just head in the right direction, keep running, and because the details in the beginning, there are too many and they're not really important. All I need to find out is how to get up the hill without getting stuck in between all those fallen trees. And I'm not actually reading the map too much. I'm just trying to find a way to run up the hill. Because reading the map here will probably just be a waste of time. A couple of places we saw these markers. I believe they were set for the mountain bike tracks in a couple of places, but they didn't relate to any of the orienteering routes this weekend. So those we could just ignore. So we're finally getting to the top of the hill, and then it's pretty much just straight ahead. It's a mountain bike trail probably, and a few curves, but they're great for running. There's a slight bit of rain in the air, but and I use glasses, so sometimes that is a bit annoying, but nothing serious. You may see a drop or two on the camera, but nothing really. And yeah, I didn't notice that he fell, and I just asked if he was okay. Yeah, no problem, but that's just customary that if you see someone fall, you do it yourself all the time, you just yell out, "Okay, are you okay?" And usually they are, but just to make sure. Now I should have read the next control is at a stone in a re-entrant, and I should have read that on the way. And just a short while, you'll see that I'll stop for 5 seconds, and that's actually those small stops I'm trying to eliminate today. So it's not a big error, but I'm just practicing not doing that. Yeah, here I slow down, and I just want to make sure that I turn at the right point and I don't miss the re-entrant or anything. But it's a very, very obvious and very clear re-entrant. It's not difficult at all. It's just continue ahead. Don't be so afraid. Just take a chance. And Of course, you should once in a while stop and make sure if you're in doubt or if you have that uncertainty feeling. But here, it was just being overcautious. So on the next leg, it's actually on the way to number 4. It's actually a pretty interesting route choice. You could cut across everything, but you know that with that small, that density, you would zigzag and it wouldn't be very fast, and you would easily lose your course a bit. So I actually decided after cutting across here a slight bit where it's still fairly open, that I would just run down to the right side and then find a track, and I wouldn't really lose any height meters, and then there would be like a small stream or like a big ditch that which would lead me straight to the control. Again, I'm actually thinking about. I'm just reconsidering my route choices, and I'm spending a little bit too much time on it, but it's okay. Afterwards, after the event, I saw the tracking of a handful of runners running the same course, and I noticed that runners who ran just about the same speed. It didn't really matter if they took one or the other route choice. Both options were fairly okay. One other runner who was slightly faster than me did cut across and did get a little lost in all the rides, but and another one just managed it fine and got there at exactly the same time as me. So now I can see the small stream on the right hand side down there, and I just have to follow the ride, so I don't have to know exactly where I am. I know that there is a small path crossing the ditch somewhere down there, and I'm trying to spot that out of the corner of my eye just to see where I am. And I also spot there's something reddish over there, but again, that's something part of the plastic setup for the mountain bikers and not related to me. So I should just push ahead and get as close to the stream. That small density, I can't see that on the map, but I'm thinking I should cut across here, and I actually spotted the control from here. Yeah. And I've also read the map, so I know that I just have to turn 90 degrees to the right after the control and just head up the hill. And then there's a vegetation boundary, which I believe I've spotted in a previous event some time ago. And I know that it's one that's fairly easy to read. Vegetation boundaries can be a little tricky. And also there's a hill up there. But I'm not being precise with my course here, or just running up the hill and zigzagging through. And here's the first path. And there's on the right across, I can see the vegetation boundary. And I may lose a few meters here and there, but I'm not stopping to read the map and getting the exact right course. I'm just up the hill, cut across those two big paths, spot the vegetation boundary, and that will lead me straight into the control. And there it is, the small dot. straight ahead. As you can see on the camera now, there's a drop of water. That'll come and go. It didn't really, it wasn't a problem, despite that I run with glasses, and if it rains a lot, it will be really annoying. But again, read the exit course that, you know, here, just go ahead. But it's fairly flat, and I can't read the hill ahead of me. It's flat in the beginning, so I'm actually stopping a couple of times, and I should just have continued. As I get closer to the control, there's a big road on the left with 2 bike paths along it that are very easy to see. So and the hill is there. It's very open. But I was a bit in doubt on. I could also have stayed below the hill and stayed on the right-hand side, and I knew that I was cutting across these mountain bike trails, and they're always zigzagging back and forth, and are often a little difficult to rely on because there are so many of them. And that's why you'll see, I'll stop here in a few seconds. Here. And fortunately I see that there's a mountain bike trail right ahead of me, and right there in the middle. And there I noticed that one and thought, oh, that'll lead me straight into the control. So now I don't have to read any of the details. It's flat. There are some shallow depressions, and there's also vegetation boundary and some fallen trees. But basically what I'm aiming for is like a little re-entrant with actually the control is at the vegetation boundary. And if you notice, there was a runner over there in green, and yeah, he made the mistake of standing still at the control. Never do that, because you're giving away the control. Thank you very much. So now the hunt is on. Can I catch him? So again, I know my exit course and 90 degrees, and you can see that there's actually the middle part, there's a path if I can hit that. And I know that there's a density on one side and a fairly obvious vegetation boundary, and I can see it from afar. So it's just hit down there. And then the difficult part is the last. So this is like a very typical orienteering stretch. Just run away, have the right course away from the control. Follow something big in the middle, and this is like the green section. Just go, and then there'll be a yellow reddish part where you have to slow down and read, but the map in detail. And I do the reading here, so I have a fairly good idea that when I hit the next path, the big path, then a little ahead. And then there'll be like an open stretch that should lead into the control. It could become a little tricky because there's a lot of things going on just around the control. So I'm a little wary on how much of a risk I should take. The lake will be down there on the right hand side. I should stay above and then turn to the left. There's a small thicket there on the left, and then I should just, and the green runner in green is turning at the right point where I also want to turn, so we're both on the same route choice here. And I'm just trying to look ahead and see if I can read the contours. I know the direction is fairly much the right one. And then there's just a slight bit of luck, because somewhere over there I spot like a white spot. I don't think you can see it yet, but yeah, here. And that white spot is not the control. It's the Manila marker, which was placed 1.5 meters above the control for some weird reason. And I spotted that, and that gave away the control. But we were both on the right control, or on the right course. And again, I know what way to turn, just 90 degrees away. Stay on the north side of the lake, just straight ahead around the small corner of the lake with the impassable marsh, and then the next control is just at the end of the lake on a hill. So we're just about halfway through the course. On the first half, I ran a little faster than I could actually manage, considering the hills. So I know this maybe they'll hit me later, but right now I'm doing okay. This particular leg is fairly easy. It's not a lot of orienteering going on. That's the small gazebo, the building on the top. That's the gray building on the map. So I just continue along the path, 20 yards more, and then across up the hill. I believe I can spot the control in a couple of seconds. Yeah, there it is in the middle. Sometimes what I do while walking up parts of these hills, I simply can't run. I'm not in that great a shape, but I can use those small, either running straight on a path or walking up the hills for just reading the map a bit ahead, so I know that I don't have to stop at the control, or just gaining a small advantage. So the next leg, there are actually a couple of route choices here. My main strategy was just trying to stay straight on the line, and that's what I do. But actually, I don't think it was the best route choice. I aimed to go slightly to the right of that hill. There's a saddle, and then adjust a little along the way. It works fine, but if I had hit the path on the right hand side, it would have led to another path and then straight into the control, and I could have run a little faster. Less vegetation, more options to read the map, and just keep a higher pace and fewer contour lines. But I believe I managed to stay pretty much on the line as much as I could. So I know I have to just climb to the top of the hill. There'll be some fallen trees, and the tricky part is if I'll get caught, or if I behind those, or if I can use them to pinpoint where I am. You'll see in a few seconds. My strategy is to head for those two large flat hilltops, and then those should lead me straight into the small knoll. So now we're up here, and I'm almost on the first hill, and the second hill is straight ahead. And we're surrounded by fallen trees, but I can just zigzag through without losing much time. And I should just run on the left hand side of this hill, and then there should be a small knoll down there somewhere. Hoping that I have the course right. And yeah, this is an old, it's probably an old tree root of a fallen tree that has turned into a small knoll over time. And there it is. As an experienced runner, you read the number of the control ahead of time, so you don't have to stop and check. But of course, if you're in doubt, you do check. For this specific event, there wasn't. Sometimes you have these control numbers on your arm. Here, I had to flip the map back and forth. I had to hit this small path between the impassable marshes, but that wasn't too difficult. And now it's all a bit blurry because it's all fairly flat here, so it's hard to see exactly where to go. But I know I have to cross those two, in between those two marshes, and then turn slightly to the left, and that's what I'm trying to do here, but I can't actually see the re-entrant or the small marsh area, so I'm a bit in doubt. You see how I'm looking, and there it is on the right hand side. I was just a bit in doubt if I was in the right place. I almost was, but it's okay. So here I have to turn 90 degrees again. And this is probably the longest leg on the course. And there are a couple of different options here, and a couple of things you have to keep your eye on. And again, I'm just trying to run and not think too much in the start. And I'm actually close to veering a little off course here. But I can see I have to cross that hill again, that annoying hill we're crossing for the fourth time probably. It's like just going along the whole lake, and it's in the middle of the forest, so you hit it again and again. And here I'm turning a little bit too much north, and now I adjust. And I see the path over there, and the route choice was actually, as soon as I hit the path, should I cut across and then go straight up the hill? There's a small thicket there which will slow me down, and this is, now we're entering the last third of the course, and I'm thinking if I stay on the path I can keep running. I'm just catching my breath here. So I actually decide to stay on the path. I did see other runners, their route choices afterwards, where they went straight up the hill, and it was actually slightly faster, 30 seconds maybe, and I should probably have done that, although one of those runners who ran straight up did lose his direction a little bit, but with some luck he should have been able to pull it off. So here I actually just passed that small mountain bike path on the left without noticing it, because despite the fact that I'd been there before. So now I was a little in doubt as to where is that big path which cuts across, because I would really like to know that, because that should lead me almost straight. Then I can just cut across from one path to the other. It'll give me the right direction, then I don't have to think much. And there it is. Couple of fallen trees across, but it gives me the right direction. So just jump a few hoops here and cut across from one path to the other. And there'll be some confusing mountain bike tracks, and yes, the control is in a very flat depression, so it could be a little tricky pinpointing it exactly. So I have to look out. I know that I can't just run and not think. I have to catch those paths, and I actually miss one of them, but without noticing it. But here's the first mountain bike path. That's okay. The course is still fine, and it's all flat and brown. So, in that sense, there's not much to go by. And I believe I just passed the second path without noticing, but then I realized, oh, I'm on the curve of this mountain bike track. So now I know where I am, and again, and I should just, it curves a little back, but I should just continue straight ahead, and there should be a depression somewhere down there. And there it is. At this part of the course, it's almost like a relief, that, oh, there's only so much that can go wrong, but you have to, a couple of weeks ago I ran in Sweden and everything went fine in Furesøen until the second to last control, where I lost 2 or 3 minutes, and I just felt so stupid. So I know from that mistake, I know, just keep focus. Here again, I knew the direction, but I could have gone a couple of ways, tried to aim for that mountain bike path and follow that and then cut across. But sort of by accident, I crossed one of them, and I'm stopping here to just get a sense of direction, and now I know where I am, and I noticed the small marsh on the right hand side, and I'm so close to the big path now that just cut across to that and try to run and think less. So it's just straight ahead for the next 200 or 300 meters, and then at this point I was thinking, I'll stay on the, if I exit this main path right after the curve and stay on the left hand side of that hill, I can hit that path on the other side, and that will lead me straight into the control. But afterwards, I noticed that if I just stayed on this main path down to the big intersection where the stone is, then there's an open stretch right into the control also. And that would have been even safer, and I wouldn't have had, there's actually a bit of bushes and stuff on the hill, so it's not that fast, but this is just about where I should cut off. And again, one of those hills that are flat and a little difficult to read for if you want to maintain a course, but it's okay. but it does mean that when I reach the path down here, say over here, I decided to adjust my course. Just put the map on the course on the map, put the compass on the map and adjust it slightly so that I'm certain I'm heading in the right direction, because sometimes you veer off just by 10-20 degrees and that's enough to miss those paths, and then you run completely past the control. And I hit the big path here, but I can't locate the small path until I'm actually on it again. And now I'm on it. I didn't notice that until I was actually on the path. I couldn't see it from even 10 meters away because everything is just brown. But from here I can see the fallen trees. There's a bit of zigzag running here, right, and then left, and then off the path. Yeah, and then cut away from the path down to a small ditch. And there should be a control down here, and it's actually behind me. Yeah, just past it. So only one stretch, one leg back left, and then should I take the path on the right, or should I stay true to my original strategy, cut across whenever possible? And I tried to do that. Afterwards I checked some stretch times and try to on wind split, try to see what other people did, and yeah, all the small trees and a little zigzagging does actually cost a bit. I feel that it's going fine, but other people were a couple of seconds faster. But overall, I was pretty satisfied with my own run, except for the confusing start. Yes, I did stop a couple of times to check the map, but not too many times, and no major errors. And yes, I was lucky with a couple of controls, but that's the way it is. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. Here it went fine. So all in all, it was just, I chose a short course and just try to keep it fast paced for me and see if I could put a little pressure on myself and keep a high speed and take a little more chances than normal. And so here's the last control, and everyone else is talking about the event, and they're getting ready for the I believe there are mugs for the winners of the overall series, and I'm just catching my breath here. So if you like this commentary, leave a comment. This is my first time making a video with commentary, so let me know what you think. If you like it, then subscribe. Godkendt.